Hello, everyone. I'm super excited about today's discussion. We're going to get rolling here shortly, but first, we're going to give everyone just a chance to join in. In the meantime, feel free to comment where you're tuning in from. One of my favorite things about doing these webinars is being able to connect with so many people all over the world. I'm based here in Austin, Texas, so if you're here, let me know, and maybe we can grab a cup of coffee or a happy hour. And we'll be back in just 1 or 2 minutes. Awesome. I'm seeing some Colorado, Kansas, Florida, New Jersey, Baton Rouge. I have family in West Monroe up in northern Louisiana. That's cool. Awesome. All over the country. Hey, I see a Round Rock, Texas. That's right down the road from me. Very cool. Awesome. Cool. So I'll go ahead and jump on camera now. Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. And welcome to today's webinar. Get more customers with your Google business profile. I am your host and digital marketing evangelist, Justin Meredith. Today's topic is one that I've been excited about for quite some time. Google has been a hot topic lately, and I mean, heck, we're in the middle of a Google webinar series. So it's definitely an important topic. And so today's topic centers around Google business profiles, what they are, how they work, and ultimately how you can use them to get more customers. Just as a PSA, in case you haven't heard yet, Google recently changed the name from Google My Business to Google Business Profiles with one of their recent updates, which we'll touch on later. We're going to dive deep into Google Business Profiles, but first we just have a few housekeeping things to go over. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the Q&A box located on the right of your screen. You can see this highlighted on the image on your screen. We're more than happy to answer any of your questions at the end of the webinar. So don't feel like there's any questions that are too small, feel free to ask. And if we don't have time to get to them at the end of the presentation, we'll have someone email you with an answer. So whatever you do, you'll get an answer. Awesome. Now, I'd like to introduce today's special guest, back for a second appearance to help provide his expertise in all things Google and SEO. I'd like to welcome the SEO Steve. He's the CEO and Senior Search Strategist at Wiedemann Consulting. He's an adjunct professor at UCSD, and he's the author of SEO Strategy and Skills. Steve Wiedemann. Steve, thank you so much for joining us today.
Get this video going. Hey, Justin, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm sure everybody's excited because we all want to be #1 in the Google Map packs and the Google Maps listings, right? We all want to be in that #1 spot. And so today we're gonna geek out a little bit and talk about ways that you can do that. And I know you've been on a lot of these webinars, folks, and I promise you this one is going to give you at least one thing you hadn't thought about or something you haven't thought about in a long time that's going to bring those things back up and add it to your to-do list of actionables that you can take to kick some butt in the Google search results. Thanks for having me, Justin.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on. So before we really dive in, could you talk to us a little bit about yourself and Wiedemann Consulting and what your agency specializes in?
Sure, but I'm not here to talk about me. I'm here to help everyone else. I've been in search about 23 years, and I'm very passionate about testing and sort of pioneering new boundaries of search. What can we do with voice, and how do we get those featured snippets at the top of the results? And how come my competitors have stars and all these FAQ listings below me? How do I get those? And what do I do to try to stand out more in the search results and get more traffic? So again, my background is stemmed from corporate work I've done with Disney Parks and Resorts, and I've worked for quite some time in agency world. And then 2010, I decided, you know what, I want to be closer to home. I want to be able to see my kids more often and still really embrace my passion for search. So I started my own little consultancy, and I've been helping brands and agencies. Some people call us the agency's agency. We're supporting several agencies that are looking to grow their department in search. And just been a lot of fun, seeing a lot of rewarding successes with brands that that you're probably really familiar with, especially in the multi-location space, which is what we'll be talking about a little bit today. So yeah, so that's my background. I teach a little bit as an adjunct, and writing a bunch of textbooks on what I've learned in 23 years and what's new and what's foundational to success and how we measure success in search engine marketing.
Awesome. So, I mean, you're clearly an experienced expert. So I'm super excited to pick your brain today and really kind of understand how we can make a Google business profile as optimized and perform as well as it can. So before we jump into that, I'd like to do a quick poll just to see, just to get a pulse of the audience, and this will help us know where we can focus our discussion, and we can really make sure that we provide this audience with the most value. So today's poll question is, let's see if it's launched. Oh, did it launched and let's see if it'll let me redo it. I think I might have. So it looks like someone was able to get their answer in quickly. But the answer or the question was, do you regularly update your Google business profile? And so right now it looks like we're not gonna be able to poll the audience. But so Steve, I just want to ask you, whenever you meet with new clients, what do you generally see when it comes to their Google business profiles?
I think it depends on the type of client. I think a lot of small businesses, are doing what they can to grind away in the midnight oil, right? As it said, for trying to get over those franchises that just seem to show up everywhere. So I see a lot of small businesses getting really aggressive, sometimes too aggressive, hiring multiple agencies to do the same thing and stepping on each other's toes. I see a lot of larger organizations having trouble scaling to be able to have the time to manage some of these things, and they're putting one person in charge of hundreds of locations. So I think it really varies, but for the most part, I don't think enough businesses realize the impact of taking the time to maximize everything that you could be doing and what that traffic could look like, or to measure it so you can quantify your energy. Hey, I spent 10 hours last month doing this Google business profile thing. Did I get any business from it? So I think that's the challenge I think all small businesses need to get over, whether you're updating it or not, is knowing what the potential value could be, because people aren't using phone books anymore, right?
Yeah, definitely. And so, for those who aren't really even quite sure what a Google business profile is, it's basically a free listing profile that Google gives you where you can add your business information like your name, your address, your phone number, your description of services, and you can fill this out as little or as much as you'd like. If you were to search best cheeseburgers near me in Google right now, a section at the top of the results called a local pack will appear with a small map showing where each burger location is, and then a list next to it with the names, the ratings, and sometimes even an image of the burger or of their main food dish or anything like that. But obviously that might not be every single burger location that's near you. Google takes into certain considerations what is the best burger near me. So before we really jump into it, I mentioned earlier that we had a name change from Google My Business to Google Business Profile. And so I think what we want to what we would like to understand first is, will that have any effect on businesses, or have you seen some impacts happen with the changes coming towards Google
There's
Business?
been a lot of changes. The name changes is really just one of many they've made over the years, and it's interesting. It keeps us on our toes. It gives them something PR worthy that they can talk about to remind everyone that they exist. There was Google Places back in the day, and it's just so many different name iterations. It really doesn't matter what it is. The way that we should look at it as business owners is our map listing, right? What's our position when somebody performs a search in that map pack at the top and in the maps itself. Some of the changes they've made in terms of layout really don't affect businesses. For example, one of the more recent ones, they put the map over to the side instead of at the top. And honestly, for localized queries, you're going to do that search on your mobile anyway, not on your desktop. So I don't think it's going to have that much of an impact. And I haven't seen anything in any of our data that some of these changes have made an impact to our traffic or our rankings. I think they're just trying to provide better results based on how people are using search.
Interesting.
So we did talk about some of the features like that map change. The local pack, of course, one of my favorite things about Google's whole map interface is it's free. Any business can go and sign up. And if someone tries to charge you to do that, think twice, because it's a free listing. If they're going to charge you to do some optimization work, great, but don't give them ownership of your profile. Unfortunately, there's a lot of agencies, smaller agencies, that sort of take advantage of small businesses. And so do your diligence, because I've seen it, and it's very unfortunate. Or once you do claim that, give them the ability to claim your listing for you. When you try to get it back from them, they'll say, sorry, it's not our policy to do that. In fact, we could give it to one of your competitors. It's extremely unethical, and it happens more often than I like to see. So make sure you always ask, am I still going to own and be an admin on my listing, or are you taking that over? Yeah, and as you mentioned, name, address, phone number, all the things that users are looking at. And I'm sure Google's paying attention to what they're clicking on and refining the results to show you just what you need and not what you're less interested in. And yeah, and this whole idea of near me isn't going anywhere. It definitely went away for a while when the pandemic caused a lot of lockdowns. People were less interested in the near me's and more interested in delivery, takeout, carside, curbside. But near me's are back. You can see them in search data. You know, it's reborn, right, in terms of how many people are trying to get out as much as they can. Maybe not the last week or two, but in general, you can definitely see the upward trend.
Interesting. And so obviously, if you were to do one of these near me searches, not like we'll just keep with the cheeseburger example, the best cheeseburgers near me. If you were to search that, not every single business that sells a cheeseburger near you will pop up in the top of that list. There's only a set number of opportunities. So my question is, how does Google prioritize which Google business profile it places at the top of a search result?
Sure, lots of bribing. No, I'm kidding. So there's four areas really, and we've talked about this a little bit on the last webinar, but I'll dive a little bit deeper into it today, since this is really around maps, not just organic local. The four areas that we want to pay attention to have to do with our data accuracy. My friend David Rodecker, back in the day at Relevant Ads, he would call it like the nucleus, that your business data is like the nucleus of a cell, of an atom, and everything else revolves around it. If your data is not accurate, none of the other things that you're going to do that we're going to talk about could impact your rankings if Google can't validate that that's your real physical address. They don't want to serve bad data, wrong data, incorrect data. They want to serve correct information. So having your information be correct and be consistent is going to play a major role in a lot of those proximity searches that people are performing. So that's number one. Number two is going to be around the actual landing pages that you're providing to Google and to users who want to see more about your business without clicking on directions or call. Maybe they want to click on website and learn more about what you're doing. So for single location brands, a lot of the focal points we'll pay attention to, we'll probably put in the global footer or the bottom of the website, since you only have one location, like your maps, directions, hours of operation, if there's a promo coupon offer going on at the moment. Maybe some of that coding that'll give us, you know, prettier results within a Google search. Some of that will go into that global footer. If we're multi-location and we've got a single page for every single location that we offer, then you've got a lot more variables that you can play around with. And we did a study of this, and I think we'll bring it up again later, but we did a study of this on the Wiedemann sites, the first link on local SEO, and it breaks down all of the features that we found in our study of 300 local pages, and provides an infographic that you could use to mimic your own pages off of our research, and giving emphasis to the areas that may help move your listings up. So that local page should have all the information that you're feeding to Google My Business when you sign up for your Google Business Profile. When you're signing up for your profile, just make sure all the information that you're providing them is available on the page that you're sending them to. The next one's going to be about your data visibility. Now it's not just about is everything in my profile correct and is my page helpful. Now it's about, are other websites sort of nominating and voting for you by mentioning your name, address, and phone number, and potentially some of the search terms that you want to appear for, potentially some of the pictures that people are taking that weren't uploaded to Google Business Profile, but instead maybe uploaded to Yelp or to any site that can be crawled by a search engine. So we'd start, of course, with those major databases that'll play a part in that accuracy signal at the beginning. We'll look at navigation engines like Here and Apple Maps and so forth. We'll get into some of the more social local like Yelp and Foursquare. And then we'll make sure that we're in all the industry directories. If we're a lawyer, we're in Avo and Justia and FindLaw and Nolo and Martindale. And then if there's some local directories in our area, some regional ones, maybe our city website has a business directory, maybe our Chamber of Commerce has a business directory, that's going to be really important to us. And of course, there's some general directories that nobody really navigates to that I wouldn't spend a lot of time and energy in. But focusing around those primary business listing sources could help the search engines as they crawl know that you're real and that your address matches what they have in the system and what you've provided in the Google business profile. Every month you'd want to be getting a little bit more of that. And the last one, and maybe the most important one, is around reputation. Are people seeing a 1-star review and not clicking on your listing, telling the search engines maybe this listing isn't very helpful, no one seems to be clicking on it or visiting this website? Are there new reviews coming up? Is somebody clicking on your listing and seeing a review from 2 months ago and going, maybe they're closed because I don't see anything recent, right? So it's a lot of it's not just around the quality, but it's also around quantity and velocity of reviews that are happening. Now here's the kicker: all 4 of these areas aren't just areas that are one-time things. We don't just assign this to our nephew and a team member and say just knock these things out and do it. The way I'd love for everyone to think about it is sort of like passing a bakery, right? You're on the street and you're passing this bakery and you smell these delicious chocolate chip cookies. And I know not everybody loves chocolate chip cookies, but I sure do, and it gets my attention. In fact, I'll stop, I'll look to see what's going on because it smells amazing, and I might even go in and buy some cookies. So if you're Googlebot and you're walking past this bakery every day, and every day there's this new smell coming out, you're going to get their attention. They're going to walk in, they're going to see what's going on, they're going to buy some cookies, hopefully. But what happens on a day where they walk past and there's no smell? Are they going to stop? Are they going to look in? Did you get their attention? What happens if it's been a few days? Maybe it's closed. Maybe they stopped doing anything. Maybe they stopped, making cookies altogether. Maybe their cookies aren't that great. Maybe they're cold and stale. So the way that I'd love for business owners to look at these factors as every day I'm going to be making fresh cookies. Every day I'm going to verify my business data is correct. It takes 2 minutes. I'm going to make sure that my landing page is more helpful than my competitors. I might even use a tool like Visual Ping for Chrome and monitor what changes my competitors make to their versions of the same page that I'm competing against, so I can see the things that they're testing. What are they adding? Is it video? Is it more images? What are they doing that's making them rank better? I might look at every day new opportunities, or even once a month get in there and get new opportunities for business directories. Maybe even get with some of my neighboring businesses that are in different industries and do some cross promoting for each other. Maybe we'll do some events and online events and in-person community events to do something for the community, where every month I'm getting other websites to list my name, address, and phone number, and they're websites that drive traffic, not just kind of general sites that have nothing to do with us or our area. And the last part is that review piece is really holds everyone in the company accountable to reviews. Look at it once a month as a team and say, guys, here's what we're doing in terms of our reputation. Here's our top 3 competitors that appear in the maps and how many reviews they get and what their average rating looks like, and some of maybe the word cloud of words that their customers are using that our customers aren't, that we could absorb and get some of their traffic. So look at it as this living, breathing thing that that could be addressed every month to amplify your visibility, the pattern of activity that's happening in maps. And it doesn't take very much time. It just takes a lot of repetition. And once you get the repetition down, you can do all of this in a few minutes a day, or a few minutes a week, or even an hour a month. But that's the way you need to perceive this if you're going to be successful and measure success in maps. You got to look at all 4 of these factors as things I need to be doing something with every month, or my competitor is going to get ahead of me.
Definitely. Consistency is key, is what I took away from that, is consistently looking, consistently checking and improving.
Yep.
Awesome. So now, unfortunately, not everybody can have an SEO Steve lead them through SEO success. So whenever businesses come to you before they get a chance to work with you, what are some of the common mistakes that you've seen them make in regards to the Google business profiles?
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. Sometimes you get desperate, and I see this a lot in certain industries. Law firms, for example, um, super aggressive. They'll spend 20, 30, $50,000 a month on an SEO campaign, and it's unfortunate, but they'll do some shady things like take shortcuts. There's a lot of shortcuts I see businesses take, such as stuffing their business name with keywords, such as saying they're open 24 hours when in reality their office closes at 6 p.m. Um, it's about trying to shove geographies into service fields, right? That Google already knows from your name, address, phone number what your geography is and what's nearby. You don't need to say near to this city, this city, this city in hopes that they'll see that city and rank you for that city. They already know proximity. You don't need to shove keywords and geographies into all those different areas. The most important hack to avoid is just manipulating anything, whether you are buying reviews and ratings from Fiverr or some other crowdsourcing platform, or just lying within the profile. They're going to find you out. A user is going to see that and they're going to find it suspicious and they're going to report you. And that's like a permanent ding on your record. Is it worth it? Yeah, you could clean it up a little bit and see better results, but it's always going to be there. Google's going to know that you did something in an attempt to manipulate search results, and that's there in the database stored forever. Just don't do it, right? And Jim Rohn has a saying that I loved, and he was one of my favorite speakers. He would always say that you don't have to do extraordinary things to be successful. You only have to do ordinary things extraordinarily well. Make that your mantra as it comes to optimizing your Google business profile. Just do it very well. Use every available field. Be honest, and long term, it's a long game. Long term, you'll be rewarded with better results. And the one thing you do want to do as a mistake is basically make sure that you're looking at everything that you could be doing to optimize those 4 different areas. Do that research. I mentioned the 300-page study we did. That took over a month and a half to do, and it was worth it. And now we know what the top ranking factors are based on differentiating different local pages that rank better than others. We know that you have 107% competitive advantage if you're a multi-location brand using hyperlocal content. We know if you put a link to directions that you'll have an 84% competitive advantage because we did the research. And it seems exhausting and it seems boring to do it, but once you've done it, you will know, and you'll be able to create that roadmap for yourself. So do your research, see what's working for the top ranking pages, reverse engineer them. Maybe even get super creative and call a college intern and say, hey, could you be our marketing student and call these competitors and talk to their marketer just to pick their brains on what's working for them, right? And that way they're learning and you're also learning as sort of a spy technique of what's working for the competition that you could test and roll out in something that you want to do to achieve higher results. So do the research, it's worth it. Look at technical SEO, look at your content strategy and the pages you have versus the competition. Look at their off-page strategy and what's driving interest to their pages, and name, address, phone number mentions, using a lot of the different tools that are available to research those citations.
Interesting. Can you touch on activity on a Google business profile and how that affects its performance, and maybe even provide some tips on how to generate activity on your profile?
Sure, I've got a lot of really good ideas on that one too, and we've seen some strange things. I've seen some of my peers, and if you're listening to this and you're one of my peers, I'm not going to call you out by name, but you know who you are. They're going out and they're buying like hundreds of phones, and they're creating a network to make it appear that a lot of people are searching for, getting directions to, and checking in on location. And I'm like, why would you do that? Like, because it works. It's showing activity. It's showing people actually driving in, and I'm like, that's not sustainable. I mean, what happens if that business can't afford you for a couple months and all of a sudden the pattern of behavior just stops? It's, the search engines are going to raise an eyebrow. I mean, algorithms are based on patterns. Algorithms aren't, okay, we saw this a year ago, so this must be a good result. Algorithms are real time. They're crawling and then they're reevaluating every day. So the activity helps them, just like that bakery example we showed you earlier, that something's happening. You can smell it, you can see it, you can taste it. So some things that you could do with your Google business profile that are positive things and not manipulating results are simply having everyone who works there get directions using Google Maps, right? Super simple. I know my way into the office. That's okay. Do a search, find it, click directions, and then when you get there, when there's a little button that says know this place, hit OK. When you're there, take a picture or a selfie, of a different location that you're at, maybe at the front entrance, maybe at the front desk, maybe with the team member or their employee, maybe with some of the product services or the menu of services, right? Or food items if you're a restaurant. Do a different picture every day and upload it. That's showing the search engines that every day somebody is searching, visiting, and patronizing an actual location. It's not closed, it's not dormant. There's no cold cookies, right? So I think there's a huge advantage there. Another thing I've noticed is, if you use every single field that's available to you, and I know this is hard when you've got 2,000 locations. We're struggling with this right now with one of our restaurant chains, is getting every single field used. So the more information you have, the more helpful it is. Not everyone's going to be interested in all those fields, but there's going to be somebody. And if you exclude it, maybe you've excluded that one somebody. So it's all part of the puzzle and putting all these pieces together to maximize how much traffic we can get and what our ranking is. So use every available field. If there's 300 characters available, use all of them. And if you're not sure what to write, look at your reviews, maybe look at your competitor reviews, and draw your own sort of word cloud from that. One of the things I like to do is I'll take, and this is a manual way to do this without using software, is I'll take copy paste all of the reviews that I have and the competitors have. It might take a whole day to do it, and paste them into Word. And then I'll take all of that and I'll go to like a keyword density tool, really old school SEO thing. And then what I'll do is when I put all those copy paste into it, I can actually create a word cloud in a way within that keyword density tool. See the words that are coming up the most often. Oh wow, people are really talking about the word fresh and talking about the word delicious, and they're not really saying that as much about us, but they are saying it about competition. Let's make sure we use those words in our descriptions of our products and in our Google business profile, and let's encourage our users to be descriptive when they leave reviews. Instead of saying, hey, if you like us and you had a good experience, leave a review. Don't do that. Just say, hey, it'd be really helpful, since we're trying to get our names out there, but more of when you give us a review, instead of asking, just sort of assume they're going to. Hey, when you give us a review later, could you mention a little bit of the details of what you had and what you liked? Like, did you get delivery or takeout? What were the type of foods that you tried, and how would you describe them? The more you can share, the more it's going to help us. And the more we're able to grow, the more we're able to to keep giving you great value. So I think that's important too. I mentioned the using Google Maps when you go to the office. The photo thing is really interesting. We recently got to hang out with Mike Blumenthal, and he's got this genius thing he's working with now that uses Google's image API to detect what an image is. And you can do this on your own. You can take a picture and use Google Lens, for example, and Google will tell you if it knows what that image is. So one of the things that you could do as you're taking pictures of your products and your services, your parking lot, of anything at the office. Hey, Google. One of the things that you could do is when you take those pictures, upload it to the Google image recognition tool, right? I think it's just a free tool that you could use. There's also an API you could use if you've got some developers that are really savvy. But upload your picture, and if Google can figure out what it is it a stack of pancakes? Is it bacon? What is it? They can figure out what it is. That picture is probably going to help you to show up for some of those longer tail queries where people are looking for specific things that you offer, like the cheeseburger you mentioned. When you take a picture of it and you upload it to Google Image API, if Google says it's a pancake, you're like, ooh, maybe that image isn't going to be the best ideal for what I'm trying to do for my users. I'll take another picture, upload it, and it says this is a hamburger, and I'm 67% certain it is. Let me take another angle. Take a picture of it, and Google says, yep, I have a 90% certainty that this is a hamburger. You're like, great, this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to upload it to Google My Business. I'm going to load it onto that local page, maybe even make it one of my little footer images, so it's an important image of what we offer. It's a great way to show activity as you're doing that consistently. So there's some things that you could do to be active, and every day at the end of the day, just ask the team, hey guys, what did we do today to to show the search engines that we're active? Did we get some ratings, reviews by asking for them in the right way? Did we get some people getting directions in? Who got directions today? You did on Google Maps? High five, great job, right? So just getting everybody in that mindset. Takes 22 days to develop a habit. Do it for 22 days. After that, it'll be just routine, and Google will see your profile as being the most active of any of the competitors. And those patterns will be like active energy in how Google's going to rank you.
Interesting. So earlier we touched on the name change from
Yep.
Google My Business to Google Business Profile. You even mentioned Google Local and Google Places. Are there any other changes that you see coming, or maybe some that have already occurred? I'm aware of a recent update they just released called Vicinity that included some updates to the local search ranking algorithm. Can you touch on that and maybe explain how this might affect a business?
Sure. Well, proximity is not something you can change. You can't physically move your business closer to where the person's searching, right? So it's not really something I would worry about as long as you're paying attention to that data accuracy signal. I do think that they are doing a better job of providing results that are closer to you. There's nothing more frustrating, and I know we talked about this a little bit before the call, but when you're doing a search for, I don't know, pizza restaurant near me, and it says, hey, there's one 3.5 miles away. Sweet, that's awesome. I'm out here on a business trip. Let's go get pizza. It's 3.5 miles. You start driving, and as you're driving, you pass 2 pizza places, and you're like, what the heck, Google? Right? I could have gone to any one of these. So I think they're trying to do a better job of serving the best results without users getting frustrated and being like, hey, what's the deal here? I need to find something that's closer to me. What kind of changes? We mentioned those layout changes with desktop. Not really something I'm as worried about for mobile users, because the mobile there's no mobile side margin where you have to worry about a map being in there or being annoying. There are some people that still use desktop, and I think it is a cleaner experience now. The aesthetics are better. You can see the button is this nice smooth button instead of this tiny little 48 pixel tap target at the bottom. So just a overall cleaner experience for users. I haven't seen anything data wise that showed a positive or negative impact to businesses that are doing ordinary things extraordinarily well. I think those that are gaming results and lying about their location, maybe you're on the border of Huntington Beach and Westminster, but you're technically in Westminster, but Huntington Beach has a bigger audience. So you put Huntington Beach on your profile, they've fixed that. And in many cases, you're going to show up in Westminster, whether you write Huntington Beach in your profile or not. And I think the spam issues, they're going to continue to clean that stuff up ever since, the pigeon update and several of the others in the past. They're always trying to find where people are doing things they shouldn't be. We work very closely with Ben Fisher, who's just incredible at being able to detect and fix and report spam for us. And he's got that red line to Google. So when you see a competitor who's doing something manipulative to try to rank in search results, it's always nice to call somebody who's a Google product specialist, Google business profile expert who can help you through that. And Ben's been incredible for us. In fact, you just do a search for like Google My Business Product Expert, and he's like #1. So so there's some things that I think are making the ecosystem better and healthier. So if you're doing things to manipulate search results and you've seen some rankings go down, you probably know why.
Awesome. Interesting. Okay. So before we move on, and I want to give you the chance to take the floor and offer any sort of final tips or advice for our audience on how they can take their Google business profiles to the next level.
Absolutely. Do we have another slide? I don't remember.
Make sure. No, it's just introduce
Okay,
going.
so my last
Anything that you
tips on here.
feel.
I thought I had another slide on here. Man, I need to get longer decks going on for you guys. So yeah, I think there's a lot of things you can do. The first thing is keep up with trends and changes. I subscribe to a local search forum where I hear all the experts like Joy and Mike Blumenthal and all these folks really talking about what's happening right now in local search and staying up to date. Even if it's only a few minutes a week, hey, I'm gonna lock down 15 minutes to do my little refresher on what's going on in search. Subscribe to search news and blog feeds. I use a service called Feedly, and it allows me to sort of read the newspaper the way that maybe my parents would have, when I was a kid. My newspaper is around my industry and what's interesting to me, and I can see that in a newspaper magazine format using Feedly. I subscribe to all the news sites, and within 10 to 15 minutes when I have my coffee every morning, I know what's happening in search. I can keep up with the trends, the changes, and sometimes some really interesting strategies that might help boost my performance overall. Real interesting case studies and stories that are happening that I can learn from within a few minutes a day, getting that daily intake of news. The other things that have really helped me is connecting with experts, whether it's just befriending a few experts in local search to ask questions to here and there. All of us love what we do. We're very passionate. I help people for free every day. Especially those that seem really interested in search. We'll get on social DMs. They'll send emails. They're in our Slack groups, and it's fun, and it's really it's really amazing the type of community that you'll find if you're not afraid to just reach out and say, hey, expert, can you give some advice on this, or what do you think of this? Most of us will help you because we love what we do. Don't ever feel like you're gonna have to spend $250 an hour to talk to, you know, a specialist. For something structured, sure, but for here and there questions, you can ask all day. Use us as your arsenal to beat the competition, and don't be afraid to reach out. A lot of us are just like me, really kind of soft-spoken and, you know, easy to work with and easy to approach. So please load us up with questions. We're here for you.
Awesome. Well, that's a great segue into our next part of the discussion. And before I bring Caroline in, I just want to remind everyone to feel free to ask any questions. If we can't get to it at the end, I've seen quite a few come in, some great questions. And if we're not able to get to them, we will have someone reach out. So anything you need, just let us know and just put it in the Q&A. So now, I think now is the perfect time to introduce a very special guest, Caroline Martinez. Caroline is a product expert, and she's one of our sharpest people at Birdeye. She's joining us to talk a little bit about how the Birdeye platform can elevate your online presence and take your digital storefront to new heights. Caroline, welcome. How are you?
Hi, Justin. Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be a part of this webinar. And Steve,
Yes.
I've loved listening to your part, so it's very insightful.
Awesome. Well, Caroline, we're super happy to have you here to provide your insight. So first, can you tell us a little bit about the relationship that Google Business Profiles have with Birdeye?
Yeah, of course. So Birdeye has 17,000 businesses as customers, ranging from single locations to multi-locations who use Birdeye daily for reviews and listings. Now, Steve has already done an outstanding job walking us through the importance of creating and managing a Google Business Profile. And because it's salient, Birdeye helps businesses boost SEO by providing them with those tools to manage their Google Business Profile directly through the platform. And it's really not just the ability to update business hours and the address, but also upload images and provide those appropriate categories and keywords and so much more. And when businesses integrate their Google Business Profile with Birdeye, they're able to read and respond and manage all of those reviews directly in one location. And with any listing update or review response done within that Birdeye platform, they're going to automatically be posted on your Google Business Profile. And this is especially useful for those multi-location businesses, as it really becomes this streamlined process of managing multiple locations, online reputations, without having to jump from profile to profile to manage those.
So if you, for example, like if you were to have 25 or 80 locations, would you be able to read, manage, respond, and just really kind of handle all of those listings and reviews from that one dashboard?
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. So no matter how many locations a business has, whether it's one location to 1,000, Birdeye can help manage all of those within that one platform. And another thing that makes Birdeye unique is we create this Birdeye microsite for all of our customers. And this microsite consolidates all of those reviews found on the web about your business in one central location. And when that microsite SEO is enabled, then Google will crawl the site, making it visible on the first, second page of Google searches, allowing those reviews on the Google Knowledge Panel to appear. So remember, because reviews are one of the most critical factors determining your brand's prominence, Birdeye really helps to make sure that you're showing your best side with your Google Knowledge Panel. And not to mention, with keeping up with reviews and optimizing your Google Business Profile, you are also increasing those chances of being found on Google Maps. And then the last thing I'd like to note, just when it comes to Google reviews, is that Google accepts reviews from limited sources to calculate seller ratings. And Birdeye is actually one of those trusted review providers. So overall, all of your online reputation ties in, affects your Google business listing, Google Knowledge Panel, Google Maps, and Google seller rating.
Caroline, can I jump in for a second as you know, as a client? One of my favorite features and what drove us to Birdeye was the seller ratings. The seller ratings can basically merge with your Google Ads account at an account level, and you could be one of the few service providers. Kind of interesting, because normally you think of seller ratings like products, but you can be one of the few service providers to have ratings in your paid ad, thanks to the Birdeye platform. And my click-through rate on paid ads and my ad relevancy scores, my ad format scores that play a role in quality and lower my cost per click in Google Ads are significant. So if you're not using Google Ads, there's still a lot of benefits to Birdeye in terms of reviews. But if you are, the success that you could see by using these seller ratings and working with the Birdeye team to get your seller ratings in the paid ads in a search result is phenomenal. So I didn't mean to interrupt, but
No, that was
I fell
perfect.
in love with you guys because of that. So
Awesome.
Yeah, no, that
So
was perfect. Spot on.
so Birdeye has a relationship with Google from an online reputation standpoint, but what about from a customer experience standpoint?
Yeah, and that's actually the next, relationship that I was going to talk about that we have with Google. And one of the neatest integrations we have with Google revolves around customer communication. So think about it, 92% of searches start on Google. So why not meet your consumers where they are, which is on Google through Google's business messages. And business messages is this new modern medium for users to connect with a business directly from Google search and maps. So when you integrate your Google business profile with Birdeye, you're going to instantly begin receiving those business messages within the Birdeye inbox. And here's where you can start having that, streamlined two-way conversation with your customer or even prospect to help answer their questions, close on those transactions, and just overall provide a positive experience. And if you guys are interested in learning more about Google's business messages, then we are having a webinar on February 17th where Google's very own head of channel partnerships and alliances, Stephen Bruff, will be joining us to discuss how to use Google's business messaging tool to get new customers. So I highly encourage you guys to join that if you guys want to learn more about business messages. But the last relationship I want to talk about when it comes to Google and Birdeye is Google Analytics. So, as I mentioned before, when you integrate that Google business profile, your listings, reviews, and business messaging insights will sync into the Birdeye platform. And here's where you're going to be able to do a deep dive over user views within Maps and Google searches, those user actions. So, are they clicking on your website? Are they, requesting directions? Are they looking and trying to give you a call? And then how consumers are searching for your business in the local area. And then additionally, we'll have insights over business messages and then reviews and ratings. So we have tons of reports, regarding those Google interactions.
Interesting. So, I mean, that sounds very useful. I feel like that data is what tells you what's working and what's not.
Yeah.
So it looks like we have just a little bit more time. Can you show us real fast what this looks like from the Birdeye point of view? We've talked a lot about this dashboard and all these things, and I just kind of want to show everybody what that looks like real quick.
Yeah, I think a really good place for us to start is just with the Google listings. So, as you can see here, directly within the platform, you have the ability to update your business name, address, and contact information. But remember, as I mentioned, that's not all the editing you can do. So when you're in the platform and you scroll down, there's going to be more fields for you to fill out and update, such as those categories, keywords, images, descriptions, appointment links, social profiles, and again, so much more. And once you make all of those updates, then that information is going to automatically sync and show up in your Google business profile and Google Maps listing, helping you to enhance that SEO. Now, if you want to take a look at the next slide, here is an example of the Birdeye microsite. So remember, when the SEO is enabled, Google will crawl the site, enabling reviews to appear on your Google Knowledge panel, which you can see here off to the right-hand side. But to touch on the microsite a bit more, here's where you can see, the business has 1,427 reviews with a 4.9 rating. But if you want to take a look at their Google listing, on Google, it shows they have a 4.7 rating with 365 reviews. So the reason why the number on the microsite is much higher is because Birdeye will consolidate all of the reviews about your business into one central location. So this really makes it a one-stop shop for your consumers to get a full understanding and full picture of what your online reputation is without having to jump from site to site to do all the research. Instead, it's one place for them to really get that full view to make a decision a lot quicker. So yeah, that's with the listings. I don't know, Justin, how are we on time? I do have a few other demos, but I don't want to.
Probably do the first one or two real quickly, and then we can jump into Q&A.
Okay, perfect. So Justin, if you don't mind, I'm gonna see if I can switch over and change to share my screen. Is that all right with you?
Sure, I just stopped sharing.
All right, awesome. Can you guys see my screen?
I can.
Okay, cool. So the second part of this demo, guys, I'm going to show you more on the Google Analytics, but within the second half, all of the customer information you're going to see here is entirely made up since this is a demo account. But jumping into the reports part, all of our reports for Birdeye are going to be under the reports tab. So here you're going to be able to see your listings report, review reports, campaign reports, and ticketing reports. We also have inbox reports, and that's where you can look at your business messaging data. But because this is a demo account, it's not here today, but we do have that also. But taking a look at the Google listings. So here, like I mentioned, you're going to be able to see your users' views. So are your users looking at you through Google Maps, or are they looking at you through Google searches? What are their actions? Are they looking you through a website, requesting directions, or are they clicking the call button? And then lastly, how are they searching for you in the local area? Are they searching you by your name specifically? Are they looking through categories and also by brand name? So here you can really look through the data and see, okay, are your numbers going up or down? And then you can also look at it from a month-to-month standpoint, or you can customize it and look at it from a more, my screen goes, there we go, from a quarterly view, a weekly view, a daily view, or a yearly view. And so if you click on quarterly, it'll just give you the average for those for each quarter. And then we also have a filter by section. So if you guys do have multi-locations, this is where you can filter by location, or if you have multiple locations in one state, you can filter by the state and look at the data for all those locations, let's say in the state of Texas. And then also you can customize that time frame. So if you want to look at data as far back as 2, 5, 10 years, you can do that, or even as soon as just yesterday. So you do have some customizing when it comes to looking at the data, but this summarizes what our Google listing reports look like. I do have a demo over reviews, but I want to make sure we have time for Q&A. So Justin, I'll let you be the
Awesome.
decision
Cool.
maker.
So I think we'll have to jump right into Q&A. We're here, we're at the 45-minute mark, and we've got a lot of questions. So thank you everybody for that. So I think that probably would be best if we just jump right into it.
Yeah, of course.
All righty. So let me see. Let me pull these back up. Where am I? There we go. So so Caroline, one of the more recent ones I just saw pop up real fast that I know you can answer quickly is the integration with Google an added function of Birdeye, or would that come at an extra cost?
No, so there's no added cost to that. So no matter what package you have, it all comes with the core package. So no matter what, you aren't paying extra to integrate any of your Google business profiles, whether that's for one location or multi locations.
Awesome. And Steve, I think this next one is for you. We've got a couple of questions that are like this. So do you have any tips for a business that doesn't have a physical location? One of the questions we received earlier was from a real estate agent who wasn't quite sure where to place their address, I believe. Let me make sure. I just want to make sure I get that's the correct.
Sure. Yeah, there's a lot of industries that are like that, where no one's going to come to your plumbing office if they need a plumber, right? It doesn't make sense. So yeah, if you're working around those other optimizations that we talked about, you can still submit your business and tell Google what your service area is, while not disclosing publicly what your physical address is. There's still a lot of ways that you can optimize. The reviews are going to play a big part of that. The ratings and reviews, the mentions of your business name and the city, for example. Maybe you don't have name, address, phone number everywhere, but you have your business name and what you offer prominently across the web, and every month you're getting new mentions because you're doing things to put your name out there. The other thing that you might have to look at in some cases is not the maps, right? Maybe I'm not going to appear as high in the maps because they're showing physical address locations, and that's okay. You still have organic to work with. You can still create content. We had a lawyer who had 3 major practice areas. It was around car accidents, truck accidents, and wrongful death. So for every city that he served clients in, where he got reviews from people who were in those cities, he was able to create a landing page, right? His first page would have been like personal injury lawyer, Austin, Texas, right? And then the sub pages that he had were car accident lawyer, Austin, Texas, truck accident lawyer, Austin, Texas, and wrongful death attorney, Austin, Texas. And then he showcased the reviews from clients that he had in those cities, as well as some custom content to help people who who don't know the city's rules and regulations, and provided links and context and what to do, and just kept it really hyper local around serving the people in Austin, Texas. So I think there's a lot you can do from an organic standpoint with your website to appear beneath the map listings for whatever you'd like to appear for, without obsessing over being #1 in Google Maps if you're a service area business and don't have a physical brick and mortar location.
And that leads me in. So I've got 2 questions for you, Steve, real quickly. The first being, what was the name of that browser extension you mentioned earlier? The tool.
Sure.
Do you,
There's a few that I like to use. Visual Ping, P-I-N-G, Visual P-I-N-G is a great way to look at and monitor any changes. I use it for Google documentation all the time. The Google SEO Starter Guide, the Link Schemes guides, the developer guides, when they change those, I know immediately. I get an email from Visual Ping saying this page changed and here's what changed. And they highlight the area because I want to know, I want to keep up to date. So Visual Ping is one of my favorites. Other tools that we could use for Chrome that support our SEO could be, there's a legacy tag manager script, so we can make sure that our scripts are firing the way they need to be. There's, just a ton of really cool tools that you could use for marketing. But for sure, Visual Ping's one of the favorites here.
I think that was the one that resulted in quite a few questions pop up. Oh man, I just lost my place. Okay, we're good. Okay, actually, if you don't have an actual physical location, let's say you're fully virtual, your customers are virtual, won't ever nothing happens in person. How can
Sure.
you get involved with the Google Business Profile? Maybe it's not even like a service area, like a plumber, which services
Sure.
a city. What do you do if you're completely virtual?
Yeah, if you're a business, you can submit your business to Google easily. You don't, and again, you don't need a physical location to do it. You just have to just take a few seconds, sign up. It's free. Put your name and put in there that you serve certain areas and the areas that you serve. Put in as much information as you can about the services that you offer or the menu that you offer. Right? There's a lot of different things that you can do to still get some presence there. You never know, especially with pictures. You never know what Google's going to show you for. So take as many pictures of what you do and what you offer as you're able to, because you never know what Google is going to show your listing for.
Interesting. So with that, this is actually another follow-up question. How would you know how to verify that your Google Business Profile if you don't have a physical address to say where they can send that postcard to?
Sure.
Is there different verification processes for that sort of thing?
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons we work with Ben quite a bit too. There's those challenging situations, like there's a resort in St. John that we work with, and we didn't necessarily want the address to be a public thing because it's kind of a private property, right? And so there's some coordination that you do. You submit a request, and then they do some verification with you, either through real time where you're there and you're on location, through signage. Right? There's some things that you could do there to kind of prove it, and then documentation. Lawyers, when they're doing the local service ads, have to prove, that they're a legitimate business and they're, what they call it, green screen verified or whatever, right? It's a verified listing by the Google Business Profile team. So yeah, you could definitely tap any of the Google product experts to help you, through that process, so that you can maximize your visibility even if you don't have a physical address.
Interesting. Okay. And here's another one that actually might apply to the both of you. Actually, there's a lot of questions here coming in, so my thing keeps moving up. But does commenting on my Google reviews help my listings recognition?
Yes, 100%. I think when you respond, it tells users that this business cares. They listen to their customers. Whether you're simply apologizing for someone who had a poor experience and asking them to reach out so you can solve their problem and not going on a rant and being defensive, or just thanking somebody for leaving a positive review. Hey, we really appreciate that you took the time to do this, and we love having you as a customer. We look forward to seeing you soon. Right? I think those play into the search behavior signal of organic search in general, right? Your content is there to make sure that you're relevant to the query, the off-page visibility, the links and mentions of your business name, address, phone number are like votes to give you credibility, and then how users interact with your listing, whether they click on you and stay there, or they don't like what they see, they go back, they choose a competing listing and stay there. Those are the 3 primary signals of search. And so with reviews and responding to reviews, that plays into search behavior. If a user doesn't see what they were hoping to see, or they see something that kind of turned them off, they're going to choose a competitor, and ultimately Google eventually is going to infer that maybe you weren't a very helpful listing.
Interesting. Another one that we've got a lot of questions, which I'm good. We have a lot of time for Q&A because these are
Let's do
some
it.
really awesome questions. So
Thanks, everyone.
does Google punish you for deleting outdated pictures on your profile that has hundreds or even thousands of views? Like does kind of cleaning out old pictures and maybe things have changed, is there any sort of impact on that?
I don't have any data for it, but remember, this goes back to trust and transparency. So if you have a picture on there that's not relevant to your business, maybe you stop selling cheeseburgers. If a user sees a picture of a cheeseburger and they come in expecting a cheeseburger, they can be pissed. They're not going to come back. So I would say if you're deleting old images because you simply don't offer those products anymore, who cares if you lose a little bit of the traffic that you were getting from those searches? You're doing the right thing and not presenting a bait and switch with customers. So if you're doing it because you're upping your brand a bit and you want better imagery, then yeah, there might be a little bit of a setback because some of those images might have been driving incremental traffic for you. So I think but it's not really a penalty. It's just that the picture that was being displayed when people were running queries where restaurant with French fries near me, and suddenly you took off the picture of the French fries and put a new one on. It might take some time for that new image to pick up some momentum and to be displayed in the preview of the map pack, or the thumbnail. So yeah, I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of an impact anytime you make a change, but if you're doing it for your customers, it'll come back.
Interesting. Okay, that's a good answer. Thank you. So I've got two questions here from two different people, but they're kind of similar, so I'm going to ask them back to back. What can you do when you receive bad reviews on Google that don't represent what really happened? Is it recommended to report it or leave them there? And then also, when we receive a review from someone that is trying to drive business to their business and did not use our services, is it possible to remove the review from within Birdeye or maybe some sort of reporting?
I'll let Caroline answer the Birdeye part of it. I can talk to the Google piece.
Yeah, so for the Birdeye part of it, I would just say, if you have a bad review that, isn't what really happens, respond to that review, respond to it appropriately, make sure, because you want, if there's a consumer or a prospect looking at your reviews and they see a bad review, like Steve said, you want to respond to that so they can know, like, okay, one, you're listening to your customers, two, you're taking action, you're showing that, you're trying to solve the issue. So, you could just write a simple message like, I'm so sorry, like that happened. No, we'd love to make it right. Please just, reach out to this email or give us a call at this. We want to make sure we can understand the situation and
roll out the red carpet.
Yep. Yeah, so really try, obviously every business is gonna have some bad reviews here and there, and there's not much you can do because, everyone has a right to leave a review about a business. But I think just showing that you care and that you're actually paying attention to what people are saying, whether it's good or bad, will, that will show, the business's true colors, that you guys really are paying attention to everyone's experience and trying to make everything right.
You can do that through the platform, Caroline. You can actually respond in line.
Yeah, you can respond to reviews within the platform. So, and especially if you have the Birdeye mobile app. So if you're not right on your desktop and you have that Birdeye mobile app and your notifications turn on, the minute someone leaves a review for you, you will instantly get a notification that, hey, you have a 5-star review or even a 1-star review. So especially that 1-star review, you want to pay attention to that one really quickly. So all you have to do within that app, if you're not in your desktop, is just open the app and look at the review, and then you can respond and try to get on the phone with that customer and solve the problem. Or solve whatever happens.
Absolutely, and you can flag a bad review. You can explain why it's wrong or not for your business or not a real customer or a competitor doing something shady. You could even report competitors who are buying reviews and ratings as well. I'd mentioned Ben a few times. Ben Fisher's just been incredible in helping us to pull out reviews that aren't real or that were created by a competitor. It's not the easiest thing to do, but it starts by just flagging it and identifying, hey, I'm sorry, I don't believe we have a record of you coming in. I'm sorry if this did happen. We want to fix it. And then you hit the flag button and say this isn't a real review. or this is accidentally somebody left a review for a competitor, but they put it on ours thinking it was us. So you can do that, and if you're not seeing results, you can escalate to a Google Business Profile expert, and then they can escalate, try to verify the authenticity of the reviewer, and in most cases, it'll go away.
Awesome.
Unlike other platforms that we won't mention, Google Business actually will remove a listing of a negative review.
Awesome. Interesting. And I've always thought about, that's the way I've always approached a negative review. I've always thought of it as an opportunity for you to show your potential customers that you care about your customers, regardless if they had a bad experience or not, that you're willing to take the time to take care of them, to fix the mistake if there was one, and address it. Because to me, I've always thought, like, if you see a 1-star review and that business responds, it could even turn into a positive. You're like, okay, everybody gets 1-star reviews every now and then. Somebody has a bad day or whatever may happen. So I think looking at the bad reviews as opportunities to show people that you care could actually really turn things around for you as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, just by handling like someone's helping someone out and reaching out, trying to solve the problem, they could go back and edit that review and change that star rating to something more positive. So,
Happened many times. We've even had some cases with another place people were leaving reviews where somebody called on a Sunday and we didn't answer, and even says we're open Monday through Friday, but because we didn't answer, they left a really negative review. And I said, I apologize, and I said Yelp needs to do a better job of making sure it's clear what our hours are, but I'm going to make it up to you. We want to make sure that you had a great experience, and we're going to offer you a free 1-hour consultation. Please give us a call on Monday. Yada yada. We went through, we did a call with the person, they went in, changed their rating from 1 to 5, and and it costs the business because consumers know that they can extort businesses using review tools, unfortunately. But in the end, it played into a positive review for us and a referral down the road. So
Awesome.
It's what it is.
And so we're right at the time, but there's one last question that I think would be perfect for Caroline, and then we can wrap up. And then if I wasn't able to get to your question, we will have someone reach out to you, so don't worry about that. But the last question I have here is there a place for automated responses when what we could use for various reviews?
Yes. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so within the Birdeye platform, you can actually automate your review responses. So, if you have a negative review, then the platform can detect, okay, this is not a positive review. So it can, whatever you create as your response for that, you can automate it so it will automatically post as a response when that review is left. Same for positive reviews. If you have, positive review and you want to say a specific message, you can do that. And you can have different types of templates for that as well. So it's not just the same response for every single review. You can switch them out and they will automatically post.
But if you have the time, take the time and personalize everything, because some people will read through review responses, and if they see the same response twice, they'll kind of frown on it, like, I'm not important enough for you to write something custom to. So if you can, I would highly recommend personalizing it. Guys, I know we're wrapping up, but there are a few things I know we really didn't get a chance to touch on that are more extensions of the Google Business Profile. Things such as Google Posts and the frequently asked questions. These are all different fields and functionality that you can explore. So I know we mentioned in the actual information tab in Google Business Profile to keep everything as filled out as you can, but I would also encourage everybody to utilize all of the features that they keep adding and changing and experimenting with, whether it's just a checkbox for we're paying attention to the pandemic, whether it's the frequently asked questions that people have. Maybe you and the team at the office can take a few minutes and ask some of the questions that the customer service gets asked often, and then answer them so that you can kind of control what people see in that knowledge panel about your business, and have a little more control over the question answers. And then the posts are fantastic. You can use some great keyword rich content to share what's happening and what's new, and users will see that. It shows that you're active and can play a pretty good role in Google's algorithm as well at the moment. Whether they keep that after the pandemic or not, and what we can do with that posting capability, nobody knows, but it's there. Use it. Use all the features that they give you. Explore and play with everything.
Awesome. So it looks like that's all the time that we have for today. If anyone has any other questions, feel free to email us anytime at events@birdeye.com. And also be sure to register for our upcoming webinar on February 17th when Caroline hosts Google's Stephen Bruff. The guy is brilliant. I had the pleasure of joining the intro call with him and Caroline earlier, and I gotta say I'm psyched for this one. Luckily, I'll be a fly on the wall and I can listen and learn. So I highly recommend checking that out. And if you missed the first 2 parts of our Google webinar series, you can find the recordings of those on our website. In the last one that we did, Steve here gave us excellent insight on how to get more out of your SEO and how to find, he provides his best tips on how to outrank your competition on Google. So be sure to check that out. So with that, thank you, Steve and Caroline, so much for your time. It was an absolute pleasure to have you guys. As always,
Thank
I
you.
look forward to talking again soon. And so thank you everybody for joining. The recording of this session will be made available on the Birdeye website, and you'll also get an email with the link. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.